From the electrifying draft picks to the blockbuster free agent signings and then the splash trades this offseason has been nothing short of legendary for the New York Giants. And this is a franchise with a storied history, but now they're rewriting the playbook for the future. Get ready to witness the New York Giants resurgence like never before. Last season was just a taste of how good this team could truly be, and to be completely honest, I think this team has incredible fight, determination, and an overall hunger to continue to prove each and every single day. From day one of the offseason, the front office was locked in and made some pretty culture-changing moves. Everybody around the league knew that they would have some big changes, or they would have to make some big changes if this Giants team wanted to come in here and wanted to compete with some of the league's best. Not to mention, the Giants are in the toughest division in probably all of the NFC, maybe even in the entirety of the NFL. With the Eagles coming off a Super Bowl appearance and the Dallas Cowboys, who also have a very solid roster, as well as them going out and bringing in Stephon Gilmore and Brandon Cooks, as well as a couple of others, the Giants knew they had some work to do, and that's exactly what they did. In this video, I will be breaking down why I believe the Giants have not only what it takes to, have a big season and make some noise in the playoffs, but more importantly, why I can, absolutely believe that they can shock the world and potentially even go on a Super Bowl run in 2023. However, before we jump into the video, I need you guys to do me a huge favor and smash that like button if you haven't already done so. It helps out the channel so much and also helps get the video to more Giants fans. So let's even get the video up to 300 likes. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're new. I will be covering the Giants all off season long. And I also am going to be streaming a ton of Giants games throughout the season. So if you want to watch some games with me and react to it with me, make sure you guys join the family, turn on post notifications so you're notified every time we go live for a game and every time we post a Giants video as well. And lastly, if you guys play fantasy football and like to do higher lower bets and pick them like that, you guys need to go check out Underdog Fantasy. And it is so stress free, especially when you play in best ball leagues. There's no roster management. You don't have to sign players, you don't have to cut players, you don't have to make sit decisions. It does everything for you. All you have to do is draft a team. If you guys want to play in some leagues with me, make sure you guys use my code in the description, and I'll see you in some drafts in the future. Without any further ado though, let's jump right into the video. Now, the 2023 New York Giants are poised for greatness. With a roster stacked with talent and an offseason that turned heads across the NFL, the Giants have ignited a sense of excitement not seen in years. Obviously last year was a nice stepping stone, but this year could be different. Led by a dynamic mix of seasoned veterans and promising young stars, they're ready to rewrite their storied history. Under the bright lights of MetLife Stadium, the Giants are prepared to face any challenge that comes their way. And after spending 5 seasons at home during the playoffs with countless 3, 4, 5-win seasons, the Giants overcame everyone's expectation and won 9 games last season, squeezing into the playoffs in a tough division. Although the playoffs didn't go as planned, many saw this as a huge stepping stone in the right direction, and so did I. This was huge for the confidence and the morale of the team, but more importantly for Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones played at his highest level when it mattered the most. When his job was on the line, he played every game like it was his last, all while having a completely depleted wide receiver room. This gave the front office so much confidence in their QB entering a huge offseason, allowing them to give him a brand new contract. Now, personally, I love the contract, and instead of having to franchise tag him, they agreed upon a $160 million 4-year deal. However, the Giants have just restructured the contract, freeing up over $8.3 million in cap space for this season. Them agreeing to this deal allowed them to go out and franchise tag one of the league's best running backs, Saquon Barkley, after another massive move in the books. And for the most part, they wanted to keep this ground game relatively the same. Last season, they ranked number 4 in yards per rush, number 6 in rush yards per game, number 4 in rush touchdowns per game. But passing the ball wise, they were also number 7 in completion percentage and number 2 in interception percentage. Overall, the offense was very solid, and they did have some work to do with this wide receiver core, and all we could tell going into the offseason, that was their main focus. I mean, the Giants added playmakers all over this offense, including trading for one of the most dynamic tight ends in the NFL, Darren Waller. And even though Waller is coming off a couple of underperforming seasons in Vegas under Josh McDaniels, it doesn't mean that, he's washed by any means. Back in 2019 and 2020, Waller was a clear lethal threat and still has that same level of talent. We saw through all the training camp, he was one of the main focuses, one of the main targets of Daniel Jones, and they connected right away. With only playing roughly 20 games over the last 2 seasons, I think this could be Waller's biggest year yet. And they didn't stop there. They also added some big names throughout the draft and free agency. And the list includes Paris Campbell, Jalen Hyatt, re-signing Darius Slayton, presumably drafting the best center in all of the draft, John Michael Schmitz, and then you bring in Eric Gray as well. I mean, they're also getting, a healthy Sterling Shepard back as well. Quite frankly, this wide receiver room is miles ahead of where they were last season, and if Daniel Jones even takes the tiniest step in the right direction this season, the offense will be lethal, both in the running game and the passing game as well. And we've seen him show flashes over the past couple of seasons. He just needs to put it all together, and this team will be absolutely dangerous, especially when you have those 2 franchise tackles in Evan Neal, Andrew Thomas. You had one of the best centers in the draft. This team has a lot of potential, and we didn't even mention Isaiah Hodgins or Wan'Dale Robinson as well, the 2, breakout stars. Well, Isaiah Hodgins kind of broke out last season. Wan'Dale Robinson's a guy they want to break out, as soon as possible. But this offense has very, very good potential, as well as the defense. And the defense was, very underwhelming last season, I want to say. In fact, they won 9 games while having, or the fact that they won 9 games while having an average defense at best was pretty eye-opening. However, we can expect that this defense is going to be better in 2023 with the additions that they've made. And first of all, they signed the best interior defensive lineman in all of free agency, Shawn Robinson, a day 1 contributor who will move mountains for this front 7, especially in terms of stopping the run. Now, in Robinson's career, he ranked number 4 overall in terms of run stop rate. And the Giants ranked 31 in yards allowed per rush, 28 in rush yards allowed per game, 23 in rushing touchdowns allowed per game. The front 7 has been much improved, and I expect opposing offenses to actually have a hard time finding rhythm in the run game in 2023 against Leonard Williams, Deshaun Robinson, Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau. I mean, they have guys, and they have guys that want to win, and guys that want to fight, and guys that want to make a difference in this front 7. Now, the Giants also added former Colts linebacker Bobby Okereke. Now, let me know in the comments if I did say that wrong. Let me know how to pronounce it. But he's coming off a 151 tackle season in Indianapolis. Again, a day 1 starter, and will help this team win games next season. They also added Deonte Banks in the 1st round of the NFL draft, and then an absolute sleeper in the 6th round in Trey Hawkins. Hawkins has outplayed every expectation so far in the preseason and has actually earned himself what seems to be a starting job as a boundary corner alongside Deonte Banks. So 2 rookies coming in. I know that might be a little bit scary, but these guys can play, and that's going to allow Adoree Jackson, one of their best corners, to handle all the slot duties, and that is huge news in itself, strictly because of the fact that they could not find anyone to play that job. Darnay Holmes, Cordell Flott were all struggling a ton to play that corner or the slot position. But now, Adoree Jackson fits right in. Now, the last big name I want to bring up is Isaiah Simmons, a former high draft pick from Arizona, was drafted traded for basically nothing to come here to New York. And man, this was a massive steal. A guy who can play a ton of different positions for this team. They can just add a nice little, linebacker, safety, slot type of guy, and he's truly going to be one of the biggest steals of the entire offseason. Not only has this team improved its offense in the passing game, but they've also maintained their high power running attack as well, and greatly improved their run defense as well as their pass defense heading into 2023. And like I said before, the Giants are coming. In fact, they're already here. They just have to make some little changes, get a little bit better this offseason, and it seems like they have. The coaching staff has been amazing. The players are grinding. This team is better. They're ready to win some games, and I expect them to win, upwards of 10, 11, maybe even 12 games this season if Daniel Jones' offense can continue to develop, continue to build chemistry, and I really do think with the pieces that they've added, this could be one of the scariest teams in the NFL. Today's video is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy, and if you love playing fantasy sports like football, basketball, baseball, and so many other sports, but also love being able to win money, you're going to want to stick around for this whole segment. Introducing Underdog Fantasy, the ultimate platform for fantasy sports lovers. Do you want to experience the thrill of drafting your team and competing for huge prizes? Well, look no further. With Underdog Fantasy, you get access to a wide range of fantasy sports, including football, basketball, baseball, and so much more. But here's what makes Underdog Fantasy stand out from all of those other apps. They've got quick and user-friendly drafting process, a unique and exciting game formats, fair and competitive contests for all skill levels, and attractive bonuses and promotions. Not only can you draft teams and compete with others, but you can also play a game of higher and lower, which is personally my favorite thing to do on there, but you can potentially win 20 times the money you put down. And if you use code MattyDubs when you sign up, Underdog will match your first deposit up to $100. And what that means is basically when you deposit, let's say $100, they'll give you a free $100 to use and play with. Click the link in the description to get started, or head to the website right now to start dominating the fantasy world. And don't miss out on all the fun. Be a part of the Underdog community starting now. And don't forget, if you use code MattyDubs, they'll match your first deposit up to $100. Let's get started. Get into drafts with me starting today.